Hi there, welcome back. Today we're going to start a series on math with regards to IGCSE 9 to 1 and in particular the Edexcel version. Okay, so we'll be using the book by David Turner and Ian Potts, and we will be going through a series of all the chapters that you are required to use in your math syllabus, videos by videos, segment by segment. So with that, let's just start, okay, with the contents that you guys are required to look at. So over here, you have your course structure. We will be going through Unit 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And in each of the units, you will have a slightly different building up from basics difficulty for the questions, and hopefully you guys will be able to follow well throughout. Okay, and there will be questions as well as exam practices, which I will be doing together with you guys, so you guys can not only see the answers but the steps involved as well, just to double check your working. So with that, let's proceed on, alright, with the first part of this chapter. So first up, you have Unit 1, and we are going to be touching on number itself. So in this case, we will be touching on your basic principles with regards to order of operation. What is order of operations? Basically, you have plus, minus, divide, and multiplication. And at the same time, you will also have to learn how to deal with fractions. Alright, fractions being over here, you have your mixed numbers as well as your fractions. So the order of operations with regards to your fractions and mixed numbers, you guys will have to note how does that actually work. So simple conversions over here. How do you get 1 2/3 into 5/3? Basically, from 1 full parts and 2/3, you will convert this to 1 full parts give you 3/3, and 2/3 give you 2/3. This gives you 5/3. The top number is known as your numerator, while the bottom number is known as your denominator. Alright, so that's how you go about converting mixed number. Likewise, if you were to convert it back to fractions, or in this case, mixed number, so from an improper fraction, this is known as a improper fraction. Alright, so you will see what is the number, and you will get the whole out of it, one whole, and whatever remaining will be the fraction. So for example, in this case we have 5/3. Let's use a different example where you perhaps have 10/4. Right? This is an improper fraction by itself, and first, you would like to get the unit whole out, which is 4/4. Okay, what do you have left? You have 6/4, and following on, you will also be able to get another 4/4 out of 6/4. This gives you 2 rounds. Alright, and you are left with 2/4. Therefore, this gives you 1 plus 1 plus 2/4, which is 2 plus 2/4. Therefore, you get a mixed number of 2/4. However, for math, you always try to reduce it to the simplest form, which gives you 1/2. Okay, hopefully that is clear. And this is how you go about simplifying your final answers. Right, let's move on to the next portion. So, in this case, the main difference is you have fractions, which are not simplified in example 1a, and you have decimals in example 1b. So I'll touch on the portion on 1b. So you will see, in decimals, first thing first is to try to remove the decimal point wherever it is easy to do. So in this case, because it is 0.8 divided by 1.6, where it is sort of in the first decimal of tenths, you will multiply both the top and bottom by 10 as given over here. Okay, so why 10th? Very simply, 10/10 is technically, so if I were to rewrite this, 0.8 over 1.6, this is the same as 10 over 10, which is essentially 1. So you are not technically changing the equation itself when you are doing any manipulation to the question. Therefore, it allows it to be, the same. Alright, so therefore, if you have 10 over 10, you multiply, you get 8 over 16. And from 8 over 16, you guys should be able to see this is actually not in the simplest form. Alright, you can actually find the common factors for both top and bottom when you split them up into their factors. So you have 8 times 1 over 8 times 2. As a result of that, you can cancel the common factor, which gives you 1 over 2. Okay, so let's move on to example 2b. In this case, we have a slightly smaller fraction where you have to the thousands. So first thing first, once you see the decimal, you should be able to convert this immediately, alright, to the decimal point. So over here, you will note that the decimal place is at 1, 2, 3, 3 zeros. Therefore, you give it 1000 in terms of the zeros. So you have 25, whatever value the decimal gives you, put it on top in terms of the numerical number, 25, and whatever the decimal point gives you, which is 3 zeros, you divide it by 1000. Similarly, split them up into their individual factors. Of course, with the smaller numbers, it is easier to get the smaller factors. For the bottom number, because it's 1000, try to get the factors that is similar to the numerator, so that eventually you will be able to cancel out like this, and you are left with basically 1, and you will get the final answer of 1 over 40. Alright, so with this, let's move on to your exercise 1. Alright, exercise 1 is pretty simple. Let me just touch on a few examples so that it can give you guys a little bit of assistance. So over here, let's try with number 1. Yeah, number 1. So this, you can basically split it up into 4 times 2 over 4 times 3. Okay, and you cancel out 4 and it gives you 2. Let's try something slightly harder with example or the question 6. So remember, 0.9 over 2.7, this is technically in decimals of tens. So first thing you do is to convert this to a fraction without decimal points. So basically you will take 0.9 over 2.7 multiplied by 10 over 10, which technically is 1, so you're not changing anything. This gives you a value of 9 over 27. From here, you will be able to split it up into the factors, which is basically, you can either do it 2 ways. Okay, 1, split up into the factors to the bottom, okay, which you can cancel both the top, and technically it gives you 1 over 3. Or if those of you who are a little bit ahead of time, you will be able to see this technically is the same as 9 times 1 over 9 times 3. Alright, because 27 you can divide it by 3, which gives you 9. So in this case, you are able to cancel 9 and 9, which also give you the same answer of 1/3. Okay, so let's move on to the table. Okay, let's move on to the table. You have fraction of 4 over 5, and now you are required to convert it into decimal. How do you go about doing that? When you're converting into decimal, always aim to convert into tens, hundreds, and thousands. That will basically be quite easy, alright, to see in terms of conversion. So what do I mean by that? Let's try with question number 7, 4 over 5. So 4 over 5, what do you want to do? You want to convert it to tens. So what do I mean by that? So you will convert it to such that the denominator will be in 10. Alright, so you will multiply by 2 over 2, which gives you 8 over 10. In this case, 8 over 10 is basically 0.8. Alright, so whatever the decimal is, if it is point something, that something, the number, will be basically divided by 10. That is the value accordingly. So of course, not all the cases we will be able to do it such easily. If we look at question number 8, 3 over 8, alright, it will not be in a nice number of tens, 100 or 1000. In this case, we will have to proceed on to do our long division. Of course, if you have a calculator, alright, during exam, this should be easily keyed in. But for the purpose of practicing the skills, let's give it a try. Okay, where we have 3 and we would like to divide it by 8. So first up, we will have 0. This is basically long division. And 0 times 8 gives you 0. If you minus this actually gives you 3. So from here, because we would like our long division to end up with a final value of 0 at the end, since now it is 3, we will carry on. Okay, so carry on from here, we will add up 0. So 3.0 technically is still 3. So you're not changing anything again. So once we have a 0 over here, we'll bring it down. This will be 30. So over here, if we add a decimal point, we will also require to add a decimal point over here. And what times 8 give you a number that is either equals to 30 or less. So the nearest is possibly 3. If you move up to 4, it gives you 32, which exits. So it doesn't work. So you'll start with 3, which gives you 24. So obviously this will be minus, and you will move on to 6. In this case, 6 is still not 0, so we will move on. So over here will be another 0, where you bring it down. 60. So again, what is the nearest number that you can multiply to 8 to give you 60 or less? So I believe the answer is 7. This gives you 56. And you get 4, again 0. Bring it down. And in this case 5. Just nice, we have 40. And this gives you 0. So 3 over 8, the fraction, is equivalent to 0.375. Alright, hope you guys understand that. If you're not sure, just look back at the video and just work on it again. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the mixed number. Okay, mixed number. We will start with question 11. Okay, so you have 8 over 3. Okay, like I mentioned at the start, find the unit whole, which is basically 3 over 3, which is 1, plus 3 over 3 plus 2 over 3. You realize in this case, 3 plus 3 gives you 6, plus 2 gives you 8. So this is 2 wholes and 2/3 for number 11. Okay, and let's try number 14. So you have 14, which is 19 over 7. If you break it down to 7 over 7, which is 1 whole, this should give you 12 over 7. You realize you can still find another whole in 12 over 7. As long as the top number is larger than the denominator, you usually have another whole. So this gives you 7 over 7 plus 7 over 7 plus 5 over 7, which therefore, alright, okay, gives you 2 5 over 7. Alright, 2 5 over 7. Okay, great. So let's move on to some practical examples, okay, for this exercise 1. Okay, so let's try number 20. So Craig buys a ring for $500. Over here, he sells it for $750. Write the selling price as a fraction of the cost price in its simplest form. So what does this mean? So as a fraction of the cost price. So basically over here you will have $750 over $500. Okay, as a fraction of its cost price. So over here, basically what this actually means is this is the same as 75 multiplied by 10 over 50 multiplied by 10. Therefore, you can cancel this too. Alright, this is the same as me doing 0, 0 cancelling off right at the start. And from here, you can proceed on to split it up further, which you have 5 times 15 over 5 times 10. Again, 5 is a common factor. You are left with 15 and 10, which can be split up into 5 times 3 over 5 times 2, which gives you 3 over 2. Alright, for question 20. Alright, so with that, that's exercise 1. In the next video, I will be going through exercise 1 star. Any questions, leave it in the comments and I'll answer them.